of your fourth season, Mark, as U's boss, and I don't think you ever really have any difficulty around energy and enthusiasm. But first week of the season, I'm imagining it just looks after itself. You're ready to go.
Others may beg to differ with that one, Swanee. Yes, sometimes we might, but certainly not at the minute. We're there's a lovely energy around the place. Everyone's fresh, ready to go. We know how long the season is and the challenges ahead of us, but I think we're really looking forward to seeing where we're at and starting against a real tough opponent. And we've got a busy first month. It's off and away, but I think everybody can't wait to get back to the Abbey in what will be, I think, a really full stadium, a brilliant atmosphere, as is always the case on day one, certainly off the back of the last time everybody was there. And yeah, there's definitely an enthusiasm from everybody, I think, to get started and get the real stuff going, because pre-season's been great, really enjoyed it, and we've had sort of 6 weeks of good work and different challenges and all sorts of experiences trying to bed in new players. But you get to a point in pre-season, despite all the challenges that the season does bring, I think there comes a time where you want to start for real. So yeah, we are looking forward to the weekend and seeing what it brings.
As a club, you had so much thrown at you last season. Does that put you in a really good position ahead of this campaign, in that I don't suppose necessarily you're ready for anything, but you've got a lot of experiences in the bag from last time around?
Yeah, I think partly that's true, and I think those things being thrown at us are more relevant or more noticeable if results are a struggle alongside it, because in the reality of the football season, if your results are good, no one knows about the stuff you're having to deal with. You know, COVID year was the first year that we had all sorts to deal with, but no one really knew what those things were, and they didn't get any attention because we were winning all the time. So I think that is just the course of a season. You know, in the months ahead, we will have so many challenges to face. The way in which we go about that as a club, as a team, and the way in which we stick together in that is going to be exciting. And we've got the core of a team that's sort of been with us in the past, or a few, but there's a lot of change there. That's an exciting scenario. That might take a bit of time to develop those relationships and understanding of what we are and who we are. But at the same time, I think that's a nice new challenge, that we're going to go through these experiences, a lot of us as a group, for the first time. So although it is fourth season for me, this feels like a new start and a fresh team. And yeah, we're really enjoying the work that we're doing together already.
Now, it goes without saying, last time around, the injury list was just mad, and you'll be hoping to avoid a repeat of that. But in terms of pure targets, it's a good starting point. You had a big gap between your best performances and your worst last time around. Is there a focus on pulling that together this time?
Yeah, and trying to make sure that good runs last longer and bad ones don't go as long, I think, and try and have some real consistency to our games and our performances, scoring points as often as we can. I think trying to get the mentality and the quality back in the team that says, if the game's there to be won, you've got to take it, and if it's there where we're under pressure, we've got to try and take something from it. I think that's one of the big things that we have to try to make sure we get right throughout the season, along many other things, and find a real stability to our season. If we can do that, and we've signed some experienced players that we think will help us, then that's obviously what we want to do, and we want to see if we can be as competitive as we can in the league. It's very difficult to make so many predictions and understand maybe what the league will look like. And I said this every year for the last three, that it's probably double figures of games before you get any pattern or structure to the season. So we're learning about ourselves as much as anything else in the next couple of months, and that's quite an exciting process.
You talk about adding experience. How difficult, taking that strategy in the transfer market, how challenging has it been to get the players that you've wanted in through the door? Because you look at some of those CVs and they're really impressive.
Yeah, I think there's a clear strategy with what we've got. I believe we've got some really good young players, some our own, some that we've signed last year or previous years, players that are in the early stages of their career, and to try and help them flourish, getting the right number of experienced players around that is going to be a key part. And obviously in the case of 2 or 3 of those, they haven't been in so long, so it takes a bit of time to get them up to speed, but we're really happy with the quality and the calibre of those players, and we think they can add a lot to us in all areas of our game. But also some of those senior ones are players that Michael we signed in January, and we knew there was a longer term thinking behind him. Ryan obviously re-signed in the summer, another big one for us. And hopefully that those players can use their experience and their qualities to make us better throughout the season. It's certainly never easy, transfer windows, and we've had to wait a little bit for some of those attacking players that we needed, but we knew that was going to be the case probably from the outset, and we've been fairly patient, and we're really happy with what we've got.
From your point of view, when you bring in these players who've got Premier League experience, and I guess you had this from day one with Wes Hoolahan, is that an interesting dynamic when clearly you haven't worked at that level of the game yourself? How does that work when you're looking at those players? Do you have to manage them in a different way?
I don't think so. No, I think those players have been playing in and around this level for a while. So in the sense they did play there, but they're not playing there now, or they haven't come from that level directly. They've come via other clubs along the way. And everyone's now League One players, and hopefully those experiences help them make us better and make them really strong players for us. But we don't treat them like superstars. The point is here, the team is the strength of the team is the team. That's how we've always had our success. So as much as, of course, you treat experienced players with the respect that they deserve, at the same token, you're expecting them to deliver for you, and they have to fit into our way of being and doing things. And in the case of anyone we've ever signed from a higher level, the key things to that are, can they still physically do it? And the answer is yes, in our players that we've signed in every case. Can they still be motivated, and are they interested in the project to make us better and contribute and play and regularly have still got hunger? And the answer is yes. And have they got a humility that says they don't think they're too big for this club and this level? And the answer is yes. And if you get all those things right, in the end, you've got a good player that should make you better.
Just a couple of final ones from me then. You look at the overall shape of League One, and clearly there'll be some sides at the top that will spend a good amount of money. But it seems to me that when we're talking about clubs with a similar level of resource to yourselves, we know you haven't got the biggest playing budget necessarily, but there are quite a few other clubs who are in that boat, similar levels of spending.
No, there isn't. There's a handful of us at the bottom quarter of the league, or bottom 6 clubs, and then the jump's quite big, and our jump's constantly growing and getting closer to those clubs. But we feel we can be competitive with a number of clubs, and we feel that this could be an open league that we want to really attack and finish as high up as we can. But there should be a real understanding that we're still striving to develop and improve, and the club and the owners are making unbelievable progress to keep doing that, and that's why staying in the league last year was really important. We certainly got aspirations bigger than our spend, and our spend is bigger than it's ever been. So that's not me moaning about that. It's just the reality of where we are. It means that we'll always have a fairly small squad and a tight squad, and a few injuries could cause us an issue, but that's the consequences of being where we are. What we have done is we've built a good team that is going to have a right go and try and make it a really exciting season for everybody.
Overall, that stability behind the scenes, that's just massive, isn't it? Probably the biggest factor really heading into this season. Any club that's got that, it's a really important part of the jigsaw.
I think so. I think when you look at a lot of clubs that have been a long time in one phase with a certain manager or stability at boardroom level, I mean, you've seen the downsides of the opposite of that. They get repeated every year. But we think it's a bit of a strength of ours. And it's something we want to play on and build on, because we know what we're building. We're not where we want to be, but we're making really good progress. That progress is quite quick, and there's probably a limit to where we can get naturally with the resources we've got. But there's certainly not a lack of ambition or mentality to do that. We're really having a right go to punch above our weight, and we want to do the same again this season.